All right, guys, it's time for the legend stage Pickems for the Blast Major in Paris. Today we finished the challenger stage, and I have to say I embarrassed myself in the very first one because I went 3 out of 9, and that's pretty shitty. And also, I don't know what the hell happened because I had Fluxo in 0-3, and I think I change. I don't even know. Doesn't matter. Like it's pretty pathetic. Anyway, as a punishment for that, I got a little bit of a pimple right here. I don't know if you can see it. So it's that's my punishment. I didn't lose any money, but I hope you also didn't lose any money or anything. But the pickings for the challenger stage were pretty shit. So going into the legend stage, which is the day after tomorrow, but the time the video comes out, it's going to be tomorrow. So Saturday, is it Saturday? Yeah, it is Saturday. We have a new try, and this is going to be 10 times harder. Quite honest, to be quite honest. I looked at the matchups that we got today after the challenger stage finished, and it's pretty crazy that you have like heroic against Pace and Vitality against G2 in the very first round. At the same time, you have Into the Breach against Apex. So it's just a little bit off balance, if you ask me. But nevertheless, we still have those matchups, and it's quite interesting. Also, what's interesting that I'm wearing headsets. And I don't need to wear any headsets because I'm talking to microphone into the microphone, not into the headset. So there we go. Another job well done. So we might as well go from right to left the same way we did the first pick'ems. Actually, we might go from left to right because last time we did it was terrible. Navi. Navi is a team that, obviously they qualify for the legend stage early on into the RMR. I don't think they're going to have any issues here. They had enough time to prepare for this event. And we saw NPL just doing a decent job despite the circumstances that he is in. And I do think they are on a right course to at least make it to the playoffs. I don't know with what score. They do have a super easy opponent in the round number 1, which is Gamer Legion. In my opinion, a team that is probably the weakest out of this 16 right now, together with Into the Breach. But the only thing that's gonna make them a little bit stronger than them is probably the experience. But overall, it should be the weakest one. Anyway, Navi is definitely going to go through. I don't know if they're going to go 3-0 because it's going to be action packed for the next couple of days. I think I'm going to put them right here as one of the teams that's going to advance into the playoffs, into the champion stage. I do think it's not going to be super difficult for them. They might go 3-1 or 3-2, but it's just they're going to win the matches they're supposed to win. So they usually don't have any problems when they're playing, this type of majors and this type of systems where they need to like win 3 games to get to the playoffs. So usually they do well. It's the playoffs they kind of crumble a little bit simply because issues they have in their team. But getting to the playoffs shouldn't be an issue. Now the next team in line is 9in. 9in is playing against Liquid that has played a terrible game in the first stage. They were down 0-2, and they managed to get wins against Fluxo, Greyhound, and I can't remember who was the third team, but it doesn't really matter. They managed to get through, and if they ran into some sort of an organized team, they would probably end up losing as well, so they would probably be out. But they're not. They're in. So we have them facing 9in. 9in is a team that qualified for the legend stage by beating G2 and Vitality in the RMR. They played well in the Brazy party. I think they lost in the semis against Australis, a game they should have won, and they're playing pretty good right now. So I would not put them as like a team that's not gonna make it, but I'm not really sure they are going to make it into the playoffs. So I'm gonna leave them right now for where they are, and we want to move on to the next team. Furia is a team that I don't trust whatsoever anymore. Like I used to think that they are gonna be delivering results and they're gonna be easy in the playoffs, and like the moment when I start losing faith in them are probably in the playoffs. But right now, the state they're in, I don't even trust they're going to make it to the playoffs simply because they have Art and who is like forcing this style of play for like multiple years, and now they don't have the players that can support that type of thing. Especially the Opper safe is pretty average at this point, and drop is like not really consistent on any level. and usually they have to rely on Kassad and Yuri, which is not always the case, especially for Yuri. Kassad is pretty much safe pick in any kind of fantasy team that you have, or any kind of, if you rely on him to deliver frags, he's going to do it, but it's not going to be enough to get into the top 8 of this major, and I don't think they're going to make it. So they're yet another team that's gonna, probably not going to go into the top 8. Fnatic, a team that many people say they don't deserve to be in the legend stage because they had easy opponents in the RMR. They ran through the 3 very weak teams and they managed to get into the legend stage without any trouble. But tomorrow is going to be a different stage. They're going to be playing a different Counter-Strike against different teams. The first opponent is an IP, usually a team that kind of, it's not easy to beat, but it's not super hard. I don't think as well that Fnatic will go to the playoffs of this one. They managed to get it into the playoffs in Rio, and they lost to VP in the quarterfinals relatively easily. I don't think they're going to be doing it today. I mean, today on this event, because it's going to be super difficult right now. They might get a win or maybe even 2, but getting 3 wins in this competition probably is going to be too much for them. For me, Fasher is super inconsistent. Roy as well, and Nico those is as well. Like together, like they can pop off, they can deliver super good numbers, but not on a very consistent level. Not like in multiple games in a row. So it's going to take a lot from them to actually make it to the playoffs, and I don't believe it's going to happen. The next team, we have obviously Heroic. Now, Heroic has a tough matchup in against FaZe in the very first round. I was thinking like getting them into the 3-0 column, but that matchup in the best of one is so unpredictable, right? They like Heroic is like a group stage team, always been. They always reach the semis, the finals, whatever, but they choke in like in those kind of finishing rounds of the event. We saw them losing 3 finals in Major, Kato, and what was the last one? Can't remember. Was it Pro League or something? And they lost that final. No, it wasn't Pro League. FaZe won Pro League against Cloud9. They won. They lost again. Was it Rio? Yeah, it was Rio again. So the thing is, they lost 3 big finals, and it's time for them to actually like win something. And I do believe they're one of the biggest contenders for this major, because simply they're in a good form. They have a good team all around. They have the good chemistry in the team. The style they play is still like not what I want to see, but it's working for them, and it's pretty decent for them to be in this kind of position. It's really like expected from them to be in this kind of position simply because the style they're running and the form they're in. Now everybody was talking, about Stam and his like performances in these finals and these playoff games, and that's usually not the case in the group stage games. So she should be popping off. I don't think there's going to be issues anywhere about this team, and I think they're going to go into the playoffs 99%, I would say. Now we have Into the Breach. Into the Breach is a team that everybody questions all the time, and they have this like UK team slash with Rallen as well. Like obviously they have Thomas and Cypher as the like team people that people are recognizing right now, but overall, I do think they are just a run trick pony in a way, and I do think they're not going to be a very much of a problem for any teams, especially in a best of 3, because in the first round they're facing Apex. That can be a 50-50 game, but if they lose this one, I think they're going 0-3. So I don't think they're going to be making playoffs. I don't think they're going to be having any chances in a best of 3 anymore. Every best of 3 they play, I think they're going to lose. So if they end up 0-2 on the first day, they're most definitely going 0-3 in the very next one. So they're not making the playoffs. Now we have a very special team. It's Vitality, Paris Major, France, Zyvu, Apex. Organization is French, whatever, and they're expecting a lot of things now. Under a lot of pressure, that there's going to be a different performance, I think, rather than in some previous, I guess, in Rio, which they won, and the RMR, which they had to fight through a lot of tough matches to get into the legend stage, because especially after Rio they felt exhausted. I hope they had a boot camp and they resolved whatever it needs to be resolved in terms of the game, because I don't think they have any problem with chemistry or all that and anything like that. I do believe that the pressure right there is going to be a little bit more than usual, because people expect them to at least be in the playoffs, but they're facing another French, I guess you can say French org in G2 in the very first round, so they might start in a very dramatic way here on the opening day of the Legend stage. Overall, I think they should be good enough, especially because of the form, should be good enough to be in the playoffs. But you remember what happened last time after they won the event, they played the major, they were playing terrible and they didn't make it. So that might happen again, especially because, like I said, especially because the pressure is much higher right now because it's Paris, it's their home country. I mean, for the Organ, Apex, and Zayu, right? It's the big stage for them, the biggest one, the very last CS:GO major. So overall, I don't know. I would just take a little bit of I will put pin in it for a while before we just go through the other teams. Bad news: Eagles again made it to the Legend stage again with no organization. They played well. You can't deny that. They beat FaZe once again in a best of three. I mean, it's just they proved once again that they belong in this kind of company, but they don't have the support. And I think they will play decent. Their first matchup is against Ants, which is very, very difficult matchup right now for them, especially because Ants is in a good form. They just qualified as a 3-0 from the challenger stage. I don't think it's going to be easy for them. They might get into a position where they have a 2-2 game against someone like, I don't know, G2 or FaZe or something like that, and they might even lose that one. So I don't really believe they will make top 8, but I do believe they will get some wins. They were definitely not the 0-3 material, but I can't really put them in the playoffs just yet, simply because the other teams are in a super good form. For example, Heroic and Navi and G2 and Ants and all these teams, Vitality. It's very difficult. It's going to be very difficult for them. So I don't think they're going to make it. Now, Ants is another team that's kind of rising up like at the right time when they need to be up. So they just qualified for the Legend stage 3-0 in 3 games. They were just playing super good Counter Strike. They seemed happy together. They seemed to be enjoying CS. Tactical side was good. Calling was good. Everything seemed on the right place during this challenger stage. Now they have facing Bad News Eagles in the very first round. I do believe they can skip that one successfully. Now I don't know who are they going to be meeting in the next one, but it's not going to be easy. It's pressure is a little bit higher than it was, and I do believe that they can overcome it. I do see them as a playoff team, but probably as some sort of 3-2 kind of scenario where they have to fight till the last day, because it's not going to be easy, especially once you run into those best of threes. If they go in a 1-1 and they have to be 1-2 or 2-1 and they have to play multiple best of threes, it's not going to be easy. But I do see them as a playoff team right now, simply because of the form they are showing right now. So, but aside from quarterfinals in the major, I can see them going past that. So I will put them in the for now. I might remove this, but for right now I feel it. So as I'm recording this, my client needs to update, so it's also good. Now G2 is a very big question mark right now. Yes, they were 3-0 as well with ends in the challenger stage, but they had a little bit of issues here and there, in their games. Seem to be playing really good Inferno, like probably one of their best maps. I think they're the best team on Inferno right now. They seem to be picking it all the time, and I do believe that it's their best map. I think in the best of one, whoever plays them in the first round, that will be Vitality. They should remove that map, and they will have a chance to beat G2. If they end up on Inferno, in any kind of scenario, most of the teams will lose to G2. That will give them a decent advantage in the best of three, unless they meet Ents, which this is not playing Inferno, but they are playing a really, really good Inferno right now, probably the best in the world. Anyway, facing Vitality, they have a tough opponent in the first round. It's going to be high pressure. Manas is playing well. Nico hasn't been playing well in the challenger stage, but it's just you cannot really count Nico off, like out. It's just like not a thing. JKS is always playing well on the big events, especially in the majors, so he can maybe step up. They seem to be playing all right, nothing special, but all right, and just enough to be in the playoffs. So I will put them right there. Apex is a team that surprised many in the challenger stage. They managed to qualify over Greyhound and I believe Pain, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and They beat Liquid as well in that opener. So overall, they are playing good Counter Strike. I don't think it's going to be good enough for the playoffs, but they can make an upset. They have Into the Breach in the very first round, which will probably get them a win in a best of one, even though the odds are probably not really good right now to take them. But that's another subject. Overall, I do think that they're playing well enough to be in the Legend stage, but not good enough to go past Legend stage. So they might get a scalp on one team like Into the Breach, and probably going to lose every single game after that, unless they have some sort of a crazy draw, which is not even impossible. But I don't see them in the playoffs, not not at all. Now, FaZe is a team that managed to get into the challenge stage, the challenger stage, through that last chance qualifier. They should not be on the on the major if the things were like normal, but they were not. So we got to see them on the major. They started well with 2-0, right? And they ended up dropping a 1-0 lead against Ants, dropping down to 2-1 bracket and managing to win against Force in a pretty convincing way. Ish, I guess there was a couple of close rounds and close calls, but overall they dominated the game and they won every round that needs to be won. Rain played well once again, so that big props to him. So he managed to get them into this thing, and I do think that they're gonna raise their game a little bit higher into the coming into the legend stage because they all want it. I see them like in their body language, the way they react when they win rounds and win maps. It seems they're really motivated to play, which is a big thing for these guys. So I will put them to go into the playoffs right here. Now, NIP is a team that I don't believe whatsoever. I watched them play into the challenger stage, and when they win the game, even when they qualify for the legend stage, it seems like they don't even want to be there. Like it seemed very flat. There was no emotions. There was nothing really happening. Even though they played against Greyhound 1-2-0, that's fine. But still, like you can see the other teams qualifying, it's like yelling, cheering, whatever. But NIP just won. If you go back, you can just there is a model of that. Like when they win against Greyhound qualify, just very flat, nothing really happening. Their gameplay seems to be super disconnected. In the first round, they have, let's see, they have Fnatic, which is a 50-50 game. I think they can win map or two, but I think in a best of three against any of these big teams, they're going to crumble and they're going to lose. So I'm not putting them in my playoff prediction whatsoever. Now the next team is Liquid. Liquid that was supposed to, like I said, they're a team that started 0-2 and now they're 3-2 thanks to the good bracket they had. Fluxo and I believe it was Fluxo and Greyhound, and I don't remember the third team. It doesn't really matter at this point. Yeah, it's Complexity. Yes, Complexity, and that was the strongest team they played. Like it's just the system is a joke, and like they managed to take advantage of that. They got themselves into a legend stage by winning against these teams. So they just won whoever got in front of them at that point of 0-2. But that doesn't change the fact the system is just crap. But anyway, they're here. By the way, they're playing. By the way, they're like doing their mid rounds. Their nuke is super weak against any teams. Like if you look at the teams that are playing right now, G2 can pick nuke against them. Heroic can pick nuke against them. Navi can pick nuke against them. Even Furia can pick nuke against them. Vitality can do the same. Like there are teams that can actually phase as well. Like they can just abuse them and get in a best of three position by like playing nuke and just getting a extra map. It's a very difficult situation for Liquid. I don't think they're making it into top eight, and I don't think they're doing it. And just realized I skipped Monty, but I'll go back now for them. Now they had their good run on the RMR, and they had a great run in Challenger stage. They managed to qualify, or even though they lost to Force, who ended up didn't qualifying in the thing for the Legend stage. So it's just it's a very good story for them right now. So I have to move my cat. Sorry, she's trying to turn off my PC, so I have to deal with her a little bit. Mitso pa ne možeš tu. Ajde beži. Ajde. She's trying to turn off my PC. She's annoyed. She did it like 10 times. Anyway, um, Monty right now. I don't like I said, even as good that they have some good pieces like Boros. They are playing really decent against the stronger teams as well. They're not going down easy, which is a super good thing, but it's not going to be enough for the playoffs. and I don't think they're gonna make it into the playoffs whatsoever. They're probably gonna get a win against a team like Gamer Legion on 0-2 or Into the Breach or on 1-1 or something like that. But when it comes to the big best of threes come for this playoffs spot, I don't think they're gonna make it. I think they're gonna lose these best of threes because the pressure is gonna be too high. But props to them for getting this far. So they're definitely a surprise package of the event. And the very last team is probably, like I said, the weakest team in the out of all these 16 teams. I don't think they can match up against pretty much anyone except maybe Into the Breach. Yes, they did beat OG and Mouth, but Mouth was playing terrible. OG was even worse, and they I don't remember who did they beat in the last matchup, but it does it doesn't really matter. The thing is, like, against all these teams, I don't think they have any chances, especially in a best of three. But they did a good job so far getting into the legend stage. So another great run for the Oregon. Really something to be proud of. I don't think it's a bad thing being in this company of players and organizations. It's a good thing, but I don't think they can make it past the legend stage. And I'm probably going to put them as 0-3 right here, simply because they have a very tough matchup in the first round, which is against Navi. Now they can end up, after if they lose to Navi, then all of a sudden they maybe end up playing against the loser between G2 and Vitality, or Heroic and FaZe, and then all of a sudden you are 0-2 and facing, staring down the barrel of getting eliminated on the second day against Monty or Into the Breach or maybe even Bad News Eagles. Doesn't really matter. And if you meet any of those teams, they're probably going to lose in a best of three. So I put them in a 0-3, but that leaves us with two more spots for the playoffs and a 3-0 spot for the Pickems as well. So I gotta go with something like I'm actually not sure. I was thinking like doing this, like putting Vitality, counting on their current form after the Rio and winning there and qualifying directly for the Legend stage and kind of help them to grow a little bit more. But I do believe that they might be good enough to get into the arena and just play a little bit in front of the crowd. And I do need two more teams, and it's already hard to pick. So what I can do here is go with something super crazy that can be eliminated on the very first day. I go heroic to go as 3-0 and then put this is so hard. Maybe I go with a surprise and maybe go here with 9 in qualifying, because it wouldn't be the worst thing. Like, it wouldn't be the first time that some of these like young teams upset all these teams and qualify for the playoffs. I did it myself with my team twice, so I don't see why they couldn't do it as well. Which leaves us with one more spot, and I don't know who to trust at this point. I have no idea who to trust at this point. I can go to NIP. I can go to Monty. I definitely cannot go to Liquid, which leaves us only with like Bad News Eagles, and Furia. And in that case, I will take my chances and put Furia here, simply because I have a spot to fill. Otherwise, this is just a 50-50 coin toss pretty much between Furia and Bad News Eagles. I just don't know where to go. That's the problem right now. I don't trust Liquid whatsoever. So I think this is it. Can I hit update? All right, let's go. We hit update, so it's good. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and I just want to remind you at the end of this video, before I forget, that our channel is partnered with 1xBet, and if you go there and use the code 1x Kassad or Kassad 1x, once you register, you can get up to 130 euro bonus. If you have your comments, make sure you leave them out. In our previous video about the major, you left a lot of comments, and I appreciate that. So make sure you do the same. If you like what I picked, if you don't like what I picked, just make sure you comment and like and subscribe to our channel. It means a lot. And let's have a good legend stage before we post a new video for the championship, for the champion stage. Yeah. See you on the next one, and bye bye.